And it's interesting that it is at the time of year, it's always at this time of year when people are excited. And there is a
Mhm.
lot of this, like, kind of, it's not so much oppositional energy, but it is excited energy around the New
Mhm.
Year's. Everybody gets very, like, pumped up,
Mhm.
and they are feeling themselves and feeling life. And there's this reflection back on your year and what was worth it and what do you not want to do further going into the next year. There's a lot of
Mhm.
that energy there. Human design reveals who you are energetically and who you came here to be. I'm Dana, human design specialist.
And I'm Haley, the human design newbie. Listen in as we explore how leaning into your authentic self is your ultimate path to success. Welcome to the Human Design Hive Podcast. Let's get into it.
Well, hello there, Haley. How you doing?
Hi.
Hi. It's good to see you. It's been so long.
I know, we're talking, it's been like a month since we've recorded, but not since we have seen each other.
Oh, is that so? We
Well,
just talked about the recording, but now I'm
actually, it's like a week less. I
what?
haven't seen, we haven't
So
recorded in
what
a
now?
month, but I haven't seen you since Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And we
The-
haven't like FaceTime since then either. So that was
it's
like 3 weeks ago.
torture. I know. I was been very busy. I have been busy.
I know.
And and it's okay. We're gonna remedy the situation soon. We'll see each other
E-
soon. We're
e-
very excited. We have been gifted with the opportunity of from our my sister-in-law has gifted us with some awesome plane tickets out to
Mhm.
Colorado to see Haley.
E-
She works for Southwest and she hooked us up, and very excited. And then today, well, I had asked her yesterday about, since she booked them with her employee, benefits and all this
Mhm.
other stuff. I was asking her about, I went into the app to try to look at our flights to see what it'd be to, like, upgrade the boarding,
Mm. Mhm. The
because
A1. Yeah.
yeah, because our flight right out of Charleston is straight to Denver.
Mhm.
And, it's a long flight, but also Lakeland is, I don't think she's been on a
Never
plane
flown.
before.
No.
Maybe it might have been once when she was like 6 months old, but to, like,
Yeah.
Niagara Falls or something. But this is a big trip. This is the big one. And seeing the Rocky Mountains for the first time,
Mhm.
we're getting ready to blow this girl's mind. And so I thought, I want to make sure she can pick where she wants to sit on the plane,
Mhm.
and with that open boarding. But I couldn't do it on the app. It said it would have to be done with the email that, booked it and all that stuff. So I just
Mhm.
reached out to your aunt and said, "Hey, I'm trying to do this, and just for this flight, and let me know, because I was going to pay for it." And then
Mhm.
she sent me a text this morning. "Oh, I upgraded you all to business select, and oh, there's Wi-Fi now, and blah, 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 blah." And I'm just like, "No, you weren't supposed to do that. That's awesome." But now, like, our flights are, I think, business select. I'm
Mhm.
like, surely that cost you something. She's like, "Oh, no, 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 it's fine." I know. She's just being very generous.
Oh, nice.
I
I
know,
love
and I'll
her.
take it. And I'll take it. Because let me just say, this is one of the ways that the universe takes care of you, right? And you're
Mhm.
just like, I'd never ask for any of this stuff for free. And I could choose to feel guilty about it and undeserving, or I could be like, no, this is how a door opened for something that
Mhm.
we both wanted. We all wanted, actually, was
Yeah.
to see each other on, it's not on Christmas. It'll be New Year's
Mhm.
Eve. We get to spend a week together,
Yeah.
and we will be in the company of our children when your husband, not your husband, not your husband, my husband, your father, on New Year's Day, celebrate our 30th anniversary.
Eee.
30 years. Yep. Up there in the mountains of Colorado with all the kids. There we are. So it'll
Look
be,
at them. Look at you.
look at us now.
Yeah.
Insane. So, anyways, that was a long story, but I think a good one. And so,
Mhm.
very excited to get out to Colorado. I've never been there. that time of year.
I was going to
All
say, you
winter.
have been here.
I have been there several
It was a
times.
long pause.
Usually in those shoulder seasons, fall or spring. Never
Mhm.
really been there in winter or summer for various reasons, but
Yes.
looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be fun up in the mountains.
Little worried about snow, but it doesn't look like it snows that much there, but
Mhm.
in Divide. But how was your weekend of snow? You went skiing, didn't you?
Yes,
Did
we
you
went
actually
to,
ski?
yes, so we went to Copper Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
We went up there Friday night, and I actually took a full day ski lesson on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was really good. That was
Mm-hmm.
it was very helpful. I learned a lot. I had really awesome ski instructor, and it was really funny. So I got there, it started like 10 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
the session, and I was the first one there waiting, and then two other girls showed up, and then that was it. There was three of us in this group lesson, and we
Mm-hmm.
had two instructors, and the instructors were like, this is not normal. It was a Saturday morning. They're like, this is not normal.
Mm.
They're like, you basically got a private lesson for the price of a group lesson.
Nice.
But it was really good. So I
Thank you,
learned a lot.
universe, again.
Yes, yes,
Every
yes. It
place
was
fun
fun.
time. So then did you hit the slopes? Did you make some runs? Is that what they
We
call
did
it?
a lot. Yeah, we pretty much were just on this one area, which is just a green. We spent pretty much all day over there working on it. But yeah,
Has
I feel
Presley
much.
skied a lot before?
He has snowboarded. He
Mm.
he has done skiing once, but he snowboards. He was off doing other things. It was funny, all three of us that were taking the lesson,
Mm-hmm.
we were all in the same situation where our significant other, they were out actually on the slopes. They were all a little more advanced than us.
Well, Lakeland asked if we were going to go skiing. I said, I don't think there's any skiing where we are, but if we need to go skiing, we can. And I will sit in the
Presley
lodge and watch everybody's stuff. I'm
Presley
not a skier.
looked. He looked. There was a resort that's like an hour and a half away from us.
That's not
That
bad.
was the closest one.
Look into it.
Yeah.
But we don't have to, bore everybody with our
Yeah.
vacation plans until we start our travel podcast. Let's just say that.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And then they'll be like hanging on every word.
Yes.
Okay. Travel by design. Where do
Ooh.
you want to go? Yeah, fun. So today we are going to get into the gates coming up for January, which, we just blew our whole, cover here of when we're recording. It's several weeks before January.
No one really pays
But
attention.
this is why we're planning ahead, because we've got Christmas next week, and then we've got New Year's, then we've got a week together. So we don't want to leave you guys out there hanging, wondering about your energies for the month and what you should be focusing on. So we're gonna enlighten you today. And so this is the territory where we did do some replay episodes over the holidays, just because there's just so much going on. And so I remember last year I did do a energy kind of update for January. And so maybe go listen to that one too. It could be different than this one. The gates are all going to be the same, but hey, I'm a year further down the road, maybe have a little more insight, or but it should be relatively the same. But I'm not going to go listen to it, but everybody else can go listen to it. I go listen to it, my gate 48 will just explode and be like, you're an idiot, you know nothing. Who do you think you are telling these people things? So I'm just gonna leave it there and leave it up to you. If you guys want to listen to it, you're welcome to. I'm not gonna stop you. Can't stop you. But anyways, so even though it's the beginning of the year, we do know that we're still in the quarter of.
It's the last quarter. I know what the theme is, and the name of it is.
It's the same as the theme. Mutation.
I was thinking transformation, but I knew that wasn't.
It is. It is.
It wasn't the word I was looking for.
Yes, that's not the name of the quarter, but that is the theme of the quarter is transformation, and it's called mutation. So this is another one of those areas where human design just like starts off so weird, and you're like, why do they talk about mutation and mutants so much? I was like, you're a mutant. You're about mutation. You mutate energy. I'm like, why?
That sounds bad.
It sounds so bad. Well, it's fair. I mean, there hasn't been a kindness in general culture to, a mutant. It's never good. It's usually something that attacks you from outer space or something,
Yeah.
but
Usually.
But anyway, so it is the quarter mutation, themes of transformation. And so what's interesting is, we, as we move into January, we are actually the day of New Year's Eve. I meant day of travel. For me, I'm thinking day of travel. New Year's Eve, the sun does move into a new gate, and it moves into gate 38, the gate of opposition, also known as the fighter. And so in the I Ching, it's called opposition. In traditional, it's called the fighter. And in quantum, it's called the visionary. Quite a different take there.
A little bit.
But there is these themes there of fighting for right, for honor, mutation. So gate 38 is in the root center.
Okay.
So it's that pulse of energy. It's a creative force of energy. It's a pulse. And it's part of the channel of struggle. And so there's a lot of misconceptions, I would say, maybe around this gate of opposition and fighting, because it's, especially 28 and 38 get a bad rap in the system as, oh God, I've got the gate of struggle. I mean, the channel of struggle in my design. Does that mean my whole life is going to be just one long struggle?
Yeah.
But what have we talked about before when we talk about struggle and the importance of struggle? Do you remember?
Well, I think in general, it's if you don't have things that you have to struggle, there isn't really any growth with it. So like, I think that's more of what you're supposed to see in there instead of just this negative struggle.
Well, yeah, like we talked about, a seed that is in the ground as it grows, it has to come out of its casing. It's got to burst through the dirt, it's got to rise up, right? Same as the little chicken inside the egg, it has to push its way out. There's some struggle there. That struggle is what.
Did you know what is so crazy about a baby chick that's hatching? Is I'm pretty sure like what forces them to break free is they are suffocating, because there's a process where this like noxious gas starts to build up.
I've heard that. Yeah, that's a struggle.
It's kind of horrifying.
I know. Good thing that doesn't happen to babies.
God.
You're like dying in here. That's terrible. That is interesting though. But I guess I wonder if that's just for chickens or if it's for other things that come out of eggs like that, like
I'm not sure.
reptiles. I mean, not just chickens, but birds.
There are reptiles that come out of eggs. So
I know, but I said chickens, meaning that chickens are like the only things that hatch from eggs. I'm saying I also realize that all birds and reptiles come from eggs, not just chickens. Oh, sorry. It's birds and lizards. I mean, reptiles, right? Snakes,
did
lizards.
It the other way.
What?
You just did it the other way.
What do you mean?
You said chickens when you meant all birds, and then you did lizards when you meant all reptiles.
I've lost my edge here. My professionalism. Sorry. I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna reel it back. Okay,
well,
so
that's about how
we done. Eggs. Okay. Talking about the eggs. So, anyways, bringing it back to human design. Yes, right. So the 38th gate. Also, remember, it's in the root, so there is going to be a pressure there. And so it is that pressure that gate 38 exerts this pressure on you, if you have it, and those around you to discover, really, it's about discovering value in life. And so I remember talking about the fighter, and I did this post about this gate too. It was around last year, could have been earlier in that, but of this fighting energy. And it's interesting that it is at the time of year, it's always at this time of year when people are excited. And there is a lot of this like kind of, it's not so much oppositional energy, but it is excited energy around the New Year's. Everybody gets very like pumped up, and they are feeling themselves and feeling life. And there's this reflection back on your year and what was worth it and what do you not want to do further going into the next year. There's a lot of that energy there. And like you said, yeah, this struggle there is, there has to be a reason for us to exist and to have purpose. And what is that in life? And so this energy here is about the ability, as we said, to know what's worth committing to and fighting for, and to use that and to use your experiences to kind of create and hold a vision for something that really is truly meaningful, and bringing that forth in the world, or defending it even, and serving the world as a visionary. And it's because, it comes out of the root. So it is going to be this creative pulse of energy, or this pulse to get something moving, really, that adrenalized energy. And so when you have that gate in your chart, there is this tendency to be someone who always is kind of coming up against challenges. Let's say they might experience it more than others because this is the energy that they're always giving off, but it's because they're here to really show that it's through the struggle, and it's through going through the process to really discover what's worth it. Does that make sense? Yeah. But on the other side of it, though, there's people that if they're not aware of it, maybe it's someone listening, you know who you are. I'm just kidding. I don't mean that. That maybe you have felt that people are always kind of coming at you, or things always a challenge, or, why is this always happening to me? And, you could get in the pattern of, even when things are good, struggling when you don't need to struggle. It's just like, it's a familiar energy for you. And so anyways, that's the highlight of it there, the low light, I should say, the highlight. But if you do carry this energy, you probably are seen as someone who's fiercely independent and somewhat oppositional. But to know that that's your gift. But if you think about it in the context of where we are and why it's important, is because as we wrap up the year, in the human design year, we got to know what we want to fight for, what we want to work towards, what life is, but I think it is interesting how it plays out in the collective when everybody's experiencing this energy of that excited energy.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going to start on December 31st. And then before I move on, I should reflect and say that if around that time, I think people are going to be reflecting anyhow, because most people do on New Year's Eve, right? So those are the themes you should really be looking at. Are you experiencing a struggle? What could be the value and the meaning in that struggle? What do you want the value and the meaning to be? Do you just want it to be a struggle, or do you want to look at the areas in your life where you are finding these challenges and realize during these times that this is the time of the year where you can really dig into those questions of, what do you want to bring with you, and what do you want to leave behind? What's going to help you create something truly meaningful in life? And I would also say, especially on, let's see, that's the 31st is line 1, first is line 2, second's line 3. You might want to be careful on those line 3 and line 5 days. Do you remember, like, line 3 is like, oh, things might accidentally happen, to kind of, it's a good day to stay kind of close to home anyhow, because line 3 days are like, that's when you kind of run into things on that day. And then on the 5th line days, you might have people coming at you. So anyways, moving on. January 6th. What a special
Uh,
day January 6th is.
yes. Yes.
Because of your dear, dear husband's birthday.
Yes. I have a
January
funny
6th.
little story.
Go for it.
But so it pertains more just to this quarter of the human design year.
Mm-hmm.
Last weekend we were doing like a planning exercise, I guess you'd say, and the one part of it was kind of like talking about life purpose and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And Presley said that to him, a life purpose is basically what it says on your tombstone, like what it is you're known for. Okay. And I was like,
the day you were born and the day you died.
No, like what it would say, like what are you known for? And I was like, that is so perfectly the quarter that you were born under.
Yeah, well, and the gate he was born under, which gate 54 is known in the I Ching as the marrying maiden. Wow. It's a mouthful. Okay. Marrying maiden. In traditional human design, it's known as drive. And in quantum human design, it's divine inspiration. And really, it's associated, it's the gate of ambition. There's a lot of ambition there. Yeah, themes of ambition, let's say. Because, and it's interesting because you might see it, I've seen in some things where they say a shadow is being ambitious. I don't think ambition is a bad thing, but it is one of these, when I was trying to learn more about some of these gates, and this is one I just couldn't get. I didn't understand the I Ching, and I was doing some reading on it, helped me explain so there's the book that I read a lot for the I Ching. I think it's called the Book of Law. I just told somebody what it was, and I really like it. It's called The Laws of Change by Jack Balkin, I believe is his name. Yes, by Jack Balkin, The Laws of Change, I Ching and the Philosophy of Life. Okay. I think it does a great job at helping me understand these, but he was talking about how, first and foremost, understanding that the I Ching is an ancient, piece of work here, but and it's also written during like feudal China, very male dominated society. Women were like third class citizens, but in that context, keeping that in mind, he's not blind to it. And so when it's talking about the marrying maiden and the themes here of ambition, he said that, in the way back times there, a man might have more than one wife. He'd have a first wife and a second wife. And it was like the marrying maiden would be the woman who understood that the first wife had dominance in the structure in the household, right? But also aware that at any time her stature could be elevated, and that she was to always make sure she had in place things that were either expected of her, needed in the household, or, and this is just ringing a bell because we talked about this, I think, in the episode about the root gates. And there is that theme there of ambition being in the sense that you are prepared.
It's like ready. You're ready to be called on.
You're ready. You have tied up your loose ends, and you have prepared yourself to be seen and recognized for your talents, your skills, and whatever it is you want to be recognized for, which I don't think is a bad thing, and since it's a root center gate, that again, because we talked about it in that episode, is not knowing when that pulse is going to come, not knowing when that force is going to be there. So you got to be prepared. So always making sure you clean out your closets, get rid of the clutter. Also a good thing to do. People like to do at the first of the year to be prepared. This is in the quarter again, a mutation of kind of review, and what have you learned, gained, transform, and a good time to reflect and say, okay, is there anything I'm leaving unfinished? Anything that needs to be tidied up? I mean, perhaps you need to leave a job, which is what I am doing. Not this job. I've finally have let go of my part-time job at the flower shop. Woohoo, yay. So that's good. And so, yeah, so during this time to be looking at those things, those themes, and it is part of the channel of transformation. So there is this energy that's present there as well. And so um, that is I think the context there through the I Ching of like being ready, but it's also thinking about being ready to because if we're looking at where it is and how it goes over to the spleen and it goes up through the spleen, that circuitry there, that energy, those themes over there are about there's still that creative energy that comes out of that, and to kind of learn to be patient and wait for the right time for divine inspiration or for the muse to speak to you or whatever it is. So there's being ready and there's also being patient because you don't know when it's going to be. And so yeah, that's that gate of well, I say gate of ambition, but that's what I relate it to. But drive or Marian Maiden. Any thoughts on that?
No.
No. No, I'm good. Okay. All right. So moving on to gate 61 on January 12th. Sorry. It's going to move into gate 61. Which, do you know where gate 61 is?
It's in the head.
Yeah, it is. Where is it in the head center? Which one?
Is it? Well, okay. Educated guess, because I don't remember exactly. I believe it's in the middle.
That's right.
Yes.
Educated guess. You are correct. Yes, gate 61 in the I Ching is inner truth. In traditional human design, it's the gate of mystery. In quantum human design, it's the gate of wonder. And so and it's also part of that channel, you're correct, from the head center to the ajna, the channel of awareness. And so this being in the head center, we know that the three gates, or the three gates in the head center, are really how we receive inspiration, ideas, and the whole process of creation starts with this ideas, right? And gate 64 to the left of it is the gate that is concerning itself with the abstract circuitry, and it's going to be focused more on the past and experience and what we've learned and making meaning of that. On the right hand side, we see gate 63, which is more logical processing. So it is like future thinking, hypothesizing, what could happen if type of thing. And then since we know it's in the middle, that middle channel, which we're going to be doing a series of circuitry here in January. After this series, there's going to be 3 weeks. We're going to go through all these circuitries, but right through the middle is the individual circuitry. And that in particular is starting the channel of really in the now, present, mutative energy. This is in the mutative, quarter of mutation. And so this is the starting of individual energy, but also that just knowingness that drops in, right? What are you smiling for?
Because all of these gates get me in trouble.
What do you mean?
Presley got annoyed at me this weekend because we were looking at a map of the ski resort, and he had said, because up on the mid mountain they have this like restaurant that foot traffic can get to, and we were looking at the gondola that goes up there, and he said something along the lines of like, I think he may have said something like, I wonder if that's cool that they have a designated one for the foot traffic. And I said no, and then I said something else, and he got mad at me because I said no instead of saying like I just knew that probably that was not what it was, but he got mad at me because I just said no because it was so definitive.
Well, also because that's the channel he has defined. And you don't. You both have that gate defined, and you both have defined head and ajna, but his channel there is defined. And that I could see how that could cause some friction between the two of you, because when you are together, since he has the full channel, he's going to dominate the experience of that energy. And
Mhm.
so to you, it might be more annoying, and I could see the friction there because you're going to dig in it even more in your knowingness. But he does have the full channel, but it doesn't mean he's always right. But
No.
or you. But yeah, so that being in the head center, that is a gate that also has pressure. And this is the pressure to know. And
Mhm.
for him, he's probably going to feel a little bit more secure in that knowing, since he has the full channel, whereas you've got the pressure to know, and you don't really always, have. It's harder for you, I think, to explain. Not, you don't even have to explain it, but it feels more natural to him maybe in some ways than
Mhm.
to you. It might get you in trouble. And it's funny because some of the unbalanced expression there is like allowing that pressure to know why, or to create bitterness, it says. Yeah, anyways. But there's also, and this is very true for us, this is the energy of the flow. There is rationalization, of trying to rationalize things, because
Mm.
knowingness
Mhm.
does just drop in. There is no past experience to back it up, and there is no like future planning type of thing. So it is kind of this energy of I hate it when I just keep repeating myself. I feel like I just keep repeating myself, which is knowingness, of saying knowingness. But
But there really isn't another word to explain what you're trying to say other than just knowingness.
yeah. And so, I think that's why they call that the gate of mystery, because there is so much mystery around knowingness,
Mm.
right? And knowing
Mhm.
why. And people who experience, or who have this gate, including yourself, including Presley, do tend to want to delve into the unknown. And this is also the energy that I used to refer to as the Sherlock Holmes thing, of
Mm.
just like suddenly the answer can just drop in a moment,
Mhm.
because that's how mutative energy works. That's how knowingness works. It's like this conduit, from the divine, that just when it's there, it's there. And when it's not, it's not. And that's one of the hardest things to work with too, is to understand that sometimes you just don't freaking know because it's just not there. And sometimes you do
I
know.
hate I hate saying I really dislike saying I don't know. And
Hmm.
sometimes I get myself even more into trouble. If I don't know something, I will still try to come
Hmm.
up with something,
Hmm.
and then it usually doesn't go well.
Well, the thing you can work around with that is to understand that, this isn't so much about, especially since you don't have the full channel
Mhm.
of really understanding the mystery, but to just kind of relish the mystery and just still ponder and question, and let your imagination go wild, kind of thing. I'm just thinking about the slope. Let your imagination go wild. What could it be up there? I don't know. But so, if we think about, again, in this context of what we're looking at, about mystery and wonder, and some of the themes here of being curious, and how do we take this mutative energy, these new thoughts, these out of the box thoughts, this mystery, and start bringing it into meaning, and how we create, and what we're going to bring forth next, um if that makes sense, because it's moving through the ajna down to the throat for
Mhm.
expression. And so we also know that that kind of energy as well is better in response when people are drawing it out of you than just blurting it out.
Mhm.
Oh, the
Mhm.
4323. But okay. And so what's interesting as we roll into the next gate, so this is gate 61, it's at the top of the body graph.
Mhm.
It's the very beginning on that end, the pressure of knowing, right?
Mhm.
And wanting to know. And then the next gate that comes up on the 17th of January is gate 60, which is located on the very opposite end of the body graph and on that channel. So it's at the very root of things, so to speak. It is
Interesting.
it is the root. And no, I bet you don't remember the names of this gate, but it's okay. I'm going to tell you. Gate 60.
What is the number?
Gate 60 connects to gate
6D?
3.
60?
No,
Or
6D.
Well, I was hard to tell if it was 60
0.
or 16. Enunciate.
I'm going to enunciate 60. 60.
0. Okay. No, I don't.
Hey, that's a no. Okay. It's the gate in I Ching called Gate of Limitation.
Okay.
In traditional human design, it's called acceptance. And in quantum human design, she calls it conservation. So are you beginning to remember what some of these things are? Themes are?
Well, conservation. I know what that word means. And I forgot the other ones except for limits. What was the first one? Limits?
Limitation.
Limitation.
So
I think maybe. I think I'm tickling my brain there, but I don't know.
Tickle it? Okay. All right. So it's in the channel 60-3, 63, 60 and 3, from the root to the sacral. And that channel is called mutation.
Oh!
So if you remember, gate 60 is creating that pulse, right? We never know when it's going to happen, but it is the limitation there is knowing that in some ways it says there is a limitation in creation, but what it really means and shakes out to be, in my view, is that this is this conservative energy. If you think about how things move forward, even in the views of when we're shifting into something new and we have all these new ideas and everybody wants, newness, right? There has to be.
You can't throw it all away. You can't just get rid of everything and start new. It's too much. It's chaos.
There are some limits. It is creating this energy since it's in the channel of mutation. It is creating this pulse of mutative energy that wants to create something into form. But there's going to be a little restraint there, and there needs to be a little restraint there, because you're right. You can't throw out the baby with the bathwater. It's like you have to appreciate what got you there in the first place, and what needs to be held on to and what needs to be let go in order to bring something new forward. And I always say this, I've found myself saying it a couple times lately, because this gate, I always think about, there is this, and it's not in this gate, but how I relate to it, I think, is in our own country and in the political spectrum. We always talk about, we have conservative and we have liberals. We have the old guard and the new guard. And, there's always so much that wants to be made or done. And there's this tight grip in the conservative hand of the government, not wanting to let go. And so this is just how my mind is thinking about it sometimes. And I also see it in generations, where this is where there is this disconnect between generations, and where generations don't always get it together and realize they need to learn from each other. Because as you get older, a lot of people look back at the younger generations and think they're spoiled, they're entitled, they don't know, they haven't suffered, they haven't done this, they don't know, blah, 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 blah. And so they discount any new wisdom they might be bringing in. And likewise, younger generations want to look at older people as dinosaurs and throwbacks, and they never change, and
Mm-hmm.
They need to get with it. Their world sucks and we're bringing a new world. And they don't always listen to the wisdom of their elders. But
Mm-hmm.
this is where this energy, I think, plays out, where you have to listen. And it shows you in this channel because it is about creating and bringing something forth, something new. But there has to be some limitation on that. It can't just be a free for all. You can't forget everything that was
Mm-hmm.
learned in the past because it's just chaotic creation at that point. There's
Mm-hmm.
no foundation there, no stability.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I think that's good.
And so that, I think, as this is the towards the ending of the quarter of
Mm-hmm.
mutation, and it's after the first of the year, and even though everybody wants to make their New Year's resolutions on New Year's Eve and feel like that's the start of the year, we can't say it enough. It's not the start of the year as far as, I mean, it's a calendar year,
Mm-hmm.
but energetically in the cosmos and everything else that's going, this is more of a wrap up time
Yeah. It's
and
like, not
reflection.
yet. Not
Not
yet.
yet.
Because
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
go ahead.
how often you make those New Year's resolutions and then you tuck it away and forget about it because
And
it's
they
not
don't
the
stick
right
because
time.
you're not ready. The energy is not there to support newness. It's a time of reflection. And my friend Tora reminds me all the time because she's very much in tune with the natural world and moon cycles and nature cycles, that this is also not, this isn't a time when newness happens. It is still
Mm-hmm.
like the dark winter, and it is
Right.
still like, let's,
It's
be in
about
our
there's
caves.
hibernation. There's
Yeah.
just kind of hanging out.
Yeah. You don't just suddenly, oh, it's
It's
wake up. It's
January
time.
1st. Here
It's
we
time.
go.
Oh, yeah. It's still getting dark at 5 o'clock and cold as hell, but hey,
It's time.
it's time. Yeah. You don't plant the flowers, then you're not planting seeds in the middle of
Mm-hmm.
January. You are waiting and biding
Mm-hmm.
your time, preparing. And that's what this is about. So limitation. That's what that's about. Right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure I said that right. Okay, so then moving on in what day is that? January 23rd. Oh, okay, January 23rd.
Is this the last one in January?
No.
Nope.
No. Second to last. So gate 41, again, another root gate. Another root energy gate,
A
which
lot
is
of root energy. Because
mm-hmm.
it was root, and then we popped up just to the or no, we
Head.
two in the root.
Actually, all of them are in the root.
So we went
For
root,
this.
root, then we went to the head. Now we're
Yeah.
back into the root.
Root.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Something
And
to
also
this
that it's
almost.
the beginning and the end of the mutation channel.
Mm-hmm. Well, the individual the knowingness channel, the individual.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Yes. But again, it's a pressure, to know. But anyways, so on January 23rd, we move into gate 41, which is, again, the root center. Moving over, it points towards the solar plexus. Okay. It is the gate of decrease in the I Ching. Decrease.
Okay.
In traditional human design, it's called fantasy. And in quantum human design, it's called imagination. And so there is a lot of themes here.
One doesn't feel like the others. We got decrease and then fantasies and imagination.
Like the other. Okay, well, hopefully we can,
see what you got.
Yeah. Well, it's probably another one of those. That's that traditional, or not traditional, the I Ching name that I would have to dig into a little bit more. I don't think I have, because I always associate this gate more. It's traditional. It's called fantasy. I do associate it more with visualizing and creative energy because it is connected over to the solar plexus to gate 30, which is like passion and desire. And it is the start of the creative process, creative energy, intentionally creating intentionally for the experience in this circuitry. And so it's a way to create an experience through emotion. So when you think about it, says fantasy, visualization, it is like indulging the fantasies, letting it go wild. What do you want to feel? What do you want to experience? What is it that really excites you and wants to get you there, to something new? And yeah, it's like, why is it decrease?
I have one little idea.
What's that? Go ahead.
Well, because you just said what it leads to in the solar plexus is basically getting down to what it is that excites you, what you want to pursue. So I can maybe see it as decrease as more like focusing rather than like limiting.
Decrease. That's gonna bother me.
Or maybe it's like getting rid of a crease in your clothes.
I'm gonna go with that. I like that. I like that. I don't have an answer, so that's good. Maybe somebody out there has the answer of why it's called decrease, because I would have to go and dig into my I Ching book, and I haven't done that this time, and I'm drawing a blank because it's really about wanting something, wanting the experience. And it's interesting, as it moves through the solar plexus, this energy, and reaches towards the throat, those gates are also about, there's restlessness in this energy. There is, creating extreme experiences just to have something to not be bored. But like I said, this gate, I always associate it with someone, and it is associated with someone who is very visual, perhaps maybe creative visually, like painters and photographers and people who use visual arts can tend to have this gate, because they can have the vision. They can, you think about when it says fantasy, it's like just letting the imagination run wild. And what are all the ways that this could come in? And what do you want to experience? Who do you want to experience it with? What do you want it to feel like? All those things are in this gate. And so, and it's in the root, it's a pulse of energy, it's a pressure. And there could be, in this instance and in this time of year, there could be this restless feeling, of like, wanting to get into action, as we often do, as you said, at that time of year, but it's not a time yet to do that. There's the pressure there, and to be ready for it. But what a great time of year to really just let your imagination go wild and really dig into what you're going to be creating or experiencing in life. How do you want to feel? What do you want it to look like, feel like, be like? All those things. This is the energy that is surrounding that gate at this time of year. And to not give in to the temptation to jump into action too quick, to resist the restlessness, and also to not to try to keep it on the positive. Try not to fixate too much on
spiral.
Negative outcomes, worst case scenarios, which happens quite a lot when, especially, people start to visualize or daydream, as you say. And we, as I think it says in the Course in Miracles, we have been trained to expect so little, and really the world is our oyster. We can create beyond our wildest imaginings, but we have limited ourselves in our thinking about what's possible for us. I mean, anything's possible, right? And so it's no coincidence then that this is also connected to the solar plexus, which is intentional creation and using how you feel to create what it is you want. So this is a very powerful time, that time of year right there.
Yeah.
That'd be the last moving into the last week of January, gate 41. Sorry. So then, people, on January 28th, we move into another root gate, gate 19. Gate so 19.
So much root energy.
So much. Just being ready, getting ready for that pulse, getting ready. Yeah. focus on those themes. And so you're ready when the pulse is there. You're prepared. So gate 19 in the I Ching is called the gate of approach.
Okay.
It's the gate of wanting in traditional human design. And in quantum human design, it's the gate of attunement.
Ooh.
And so this gate, hands down, every time I see it, I just know I see it in a chart. It's the gate of sensitivity. This is a sensitive individual if they have this gate or this full channel, 1949. Again, it's a root center gate reaching to the solar plexus.
Do I have this one?
You do? I believe you do. I say I believe it. Yes, you do. You have the gate. That's right. Because you don't have the channel.
I don't have the
you're not
channel because I'm
emotionally
not
defined. And so there is a lot of sensitivity in this gate, a sense of wanting to belong. Sometimes, they say there's neediness in this gate because it is tribal energy. It is gate 9, or excuse me, the channel 1949 is synthesis, but it's really the themes here are fulfilling the needs of two essential human mandates, basically in relationships or survival, tribes, communities, whatever. And it's the need to have like basic access to resources like food and shelter, and the need to have spiritual connection, some sort of connection. So we all, being connected to something bigger than ourselves, if you want to say it like that, spiritual connection. And so we all need to have like our own needs, like our physical, material needs met and our spiritual needs met. And, and basically the energy here is that when everybody has enough food and shelter, things they need to survive and thrive and be healthy, then the whole community thrives and is healthy. And so what's interesting here is there is a bonding energy here because it's looking for those that are going to help provide those things, right? With them. And when there is a want or a need for someone in the tribe, there's kind of like things start to break down, because if everybody doesn't have what they need, then there starts to be this neediness, this competition, this like grasping energy. And so I always associate this energy, like I said, the sensitivity. And I know people with this guy. I know you, obviously. Lakeland has the full channel, and she definitely, and I think as we mutate, as our energy bodies mutate as we go towards 2027, this channel in particular plays a big role, which I can't necessarily speak to right now, other than I know that the predictions are, and we can see it happening some, is that we will become even more attuned to the animal world, because people who have this gate and this channel, but really this gate, are usually very sensitive to animals and bond very easily with animals, love animals. They're almost like animal communicators. I know.
My
she's
dog
right
behind
there.
me.
I know. Lakeland and every animal. There is a lot of sensitivity there. And they say that part of this energy will be us moving away from relying so much on animals for food sources, which we could be forced into it. I hope not, by.
Don't even speak it.
We don't want to say it.
I don't like to speak negativity into existence.
But it's not, we see so much talk now how it is a good thing to have a more plant-based diet, which I agree with, to have some, protein. And I don't think that our bodies are designed. We do take in animal protein sources. We evolutionary still do that. You may disagree with me.
Herbivores.
No, we're not herbivores. And I understand there's many ways to get protein. Like I said, I get it. I'm there. I'm down. But anyways, I don't want to get into diet because I'm not an expert on that at all. But anyways, there is a lot of focus on this channel in particular as we mutate. But if you think about it, the sensitivity has to be there. And what I was starting to say, I think, was yes, you're a sensitive individual, but the sensitivity in Lakeland is even heightened for other reasons, I'm sure, as well. But I always have to remind her, and I'm so glad I know this about human design and I can see her chart to remind her that her sensitivity is a gift. It's a gift to all of us because she is tuned to the environment to be sensitive in that way, to know. And she does so much that, like, who identifying where people are in need or in want and trying to find ways to help alleviate that, I guess, in a way. There's also they call in this channel is themes around bonding and marriage. And also, if you have this channel, you're probably going to resonate with this, where it says that it's about there's no gray areas for people a lot of times with this channel. Yeah. And if someone slights you or is a perceived betrayal in the relationship, it's like done. Like there's no turning back. That's it. Broken. Yeah. Broken. There's no going back. And so there's a lot of trust issues in that as well. So the challenge here with people who have this energy is, like, you know, in Lakeland's case, is to not see your sensitivity as something that is a weakness in you. It is actually a gift, because, and you don't want to compromise that, and to not allow yourself to be taken advantage of because of your sensitivity, like to not let others run over you, and because you don't want to be seen as sensitive, to honor your sensitivity. I used to say that to your dad all the time. I don't have this channel or gate, but he would say things so annoying when somebody says, a man especially says to you, "You're so sensitive." I'm like, and why? Because you just insulted me?
Why? Because you said something?
Why? Because you insulted my intelligence? Oh gosh, I'm just kidding. Don't be so sensitive. You're so sensitive. And I started saying, I'm like, you're lucky I'm so sensitive. You should be lucky I'm sensitive, because my sensitivity in this family is, you know, what keeps us emotionally sound and healthy, because I am sensitive to the needs of others. Like I said, I don't have this gate, but I see sensitivity as a gift. Do you have any thoughts?
I don't know if this part plays into it, but like, I know for myself, when I get very frustrated, I do tend to be very, like, it's more emotional. Like, if I get frustrated and I don't know what I'm doing, I'll cry. If I get angry, I will cry. If I get sad, I'll cry.
Well, I do that too. So maybe not as much.
So I don't know if that's necessarily part of it, but it can be frustrating if I am trying to have a discussion or something and I can't get it out because then I'm crying, and then it's just makes me look all sensitive.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested in that too, of why, because I don't know, you may be more sensitive than others, but, you know, I think every woman out there, every woman I ever talk to really understands that whole, like, anger turning into tears type of thing.
It's really frustrating.
It is, because it's seen as a weakness. But, you know, I think, because men, they just block it all out, but in general. But if you think about what crying does, it releases. That is a release. And it, you know, it could be pent up generational trauma of not being able to be angry that brings us all to this point of, like, and I'm sure somebody out there has an answer. I'm sure they have maybe thought about this more, but just off the top of our heads here, because yeah, these intense emotions for me, like, that often turns into, like, tears, and then it can dissipate in a way. Sadness, it sticks around a little bit longer, but you know, don't have to worry about that.
I talk about generational anger pent up. I saw a reel the other day, and it was like the caption was like, female characters written by women. And then it was a compilation of all these different female characters in movies and stuff, and they were all yelling and, like, like they were arguing and they were yelling.
Hmm.
And all of the comments were like, that was so cathartic. Like, oh my God, like I didn't know I needed to see that. And it was all like women's comments saying that. And it was like, yeah, it did feel good to watch that.
Really?
Yeah. It
Oh,
was very interesting.
be interested to see that. but all in all, this gate here, the themes here, that sensitivity is for creating these connections with others, of knowing who to connect with to help, make sure everyone is cared for, yourself in particular, and to sense the emotional needs of others and those in your community, and to help bridge that gap, I guess, so to speak. So
Mhm.
anyways, very sensitive to others, needs of others. So I think it's a beautiful thing. And that's where, the human design year wraps up, and this quarter of mutation wraps up, is in this
The interesting end.
energy of, how are you going to go, how are you going to go about doing it? Who are you going to create with,
Mhm.
are you going to bring everybody along? That it ends, yes, in tribal energy of, and because in the next quarter, we're going to go into initiation, which is going to be more about, we've reflected on the year, we're wrapping up the energy, we know who we've bonded with, were they good bonds, who are, is everybody's needs being met, what are we doing? And
Mhm.
then as we, come back next time with the gates episode in February, we're going to be starting in the first gate and quarter of initiation in the year. It's
Yeah.
going to leave you hanging there on what that is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting.
Yeah. So I would, encourage, if you want to go back and listen to the episode we have about the root center, or about divine timing. There was one about timing, time and timing in the root center. Sorry. That's what it is. Because we talk about what you can do to prepare,
Mhm.
to work with this energy and what to focus on. So that's another thing
Yeah.
to look back on. So there you go. So you know what that means, Haley.
The Incarnation Cross of the week.
That's right. It is time for the Incarnation Cross of the week. Okay, so this week we are going to talk about the left angle cross of prevention.
Left angle cross of prevention. Left angle means it is a 5 or a 6
Mhm.
or
No,
no,
no.
no. And then these ones are even funkier
When
because
you say 5 or 6, let's remind everybody you mean a
the line,
profile
a
line
profile
starting with
line.
5 or 6. That's right.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I was going to say they're also funky because they may have a number after them, but that does not correlate to the quarter of the year like the right angle cross does.
Yes, you are correct. I remember, I re-released an episode on the types, our third episode on the types.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny how many times you got a gold star. You won a gold star. I think we got like 4 of them in that episode. You were so excited to get gold stars.
Yes.
Fictional imagination,
I
imaginary gold stars.
in
Didn't
my
matter.
in my
Motivated you.
in my work email,
Hmm.
I now have a folder that just says nice words.
What do you mean? What?
It's a
What?
folder I have in my email that I made that just says nice. The folder name is nice words, and it's like when people compliment me.
Oh, little projector. You're like, I open that. They see me. I need a little shot of feeling good. I'm going to open up my nice
one
words
of
folder.
one of my PMs said that
Mhm.
I was the best PA they've ever worked with. So
Mm. That would be a project accountant.
yes, that is my
Yes.
job.
Well, you're the best I know. So,
Oh, thank you.
and the brightest.
Oh.
Best and the brightest. Ah! Oh, sorry, dropped something. Okay. Let's move on away from Haley's little rally for herself. Love you. Okay. So, left angle cross of prevention. So, this consists of On the personality side, the personality sun being in gate 15, the gate of extremes, and the earth being in gate 10, which is behavior of the self. Which gate 10? It's called behavior of self, but I call it self-love. And then on the
Self-love.
design side, design sun being in gate 17, gate of opinions. And then the earth is in gate 18, correction.
Got that one.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is extremes, self-love,
opinions,
and correction. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see where this goes.
Let's see where it goes. Okay. If you were born under the left angle cross of prevention, your role in life is to support people in connecting to the courage of the heart, which is rooted in self-love and compassion. Mm-hmm. You exemplify the potential of living with a heart-centered approach, demonstrating the discipline of the heart that leads to greatness and resilience. You're here to emphasize the importance of authenticity by first loving yourself enough to embrace your true nature and then guiding others to do the same. Your purpose involves assisting others in overcoming the trauma of forgetting their own worthiness, bravery, and conviction. You're here to caution and discourage others from making certain mistakes or following problematic patterns or paths. Your opinions are shared with love and for their benefit, ensuring that they do not encounter unnecessary challenges.
Wow.
Prevention,
yeah. I really liked the part about what was it? Something about the trauma of not realizing your worthiness or something. That line there.
It's yes, assisting others in overcoming the trauma of forgetting their own worthiness, bravery, and conviction. Yeah, that hits deep.
That was powerful.
That hits deep. So you're out there preventing people from living empty lives.
Doing the good work.
God bless you. Godspeed. So on that note, we're also going to say Godspeed, but I also want to take a moment to remind you all, if you haven't already, to please, you can go onto iTunes and leave us a rating or review as we're rapidly approaching our 100th episode. And it would really mean a lot to us if you started sharing the podcast more with others so other people can get to know us and hopefully learn a little something about human design.
Yes.
And if you also find something you really liked in this episode, maybe one of the gates that we talked about, share it with others on your socials. Instagram maybe would be a good place. You can screenshot the podcast here when you're listening to it and share with us what it is takeaway you had from today's episode, maybe about new insights into this part of the year and the energies that we explored today. So,
or maybe some questions.
That's right. So anyways, just want to let you all know as we do, I guess when this airs, it'll be right here at the cusp of the year. It'll be the new year already, I think. When am I?
January 2nd, I believe.
Yeah. So happy New Year.
Hey.
And don't feel you have to get it all done now. You've got time.
Yes.
You are here to reflect in these next several weeks on these themes that we shared with you today. So we appreciate you all very much. And Haley, it's been great getting back in the podcast zone with you.
Back in the pod.
Say studio, but we're not in the studio, but
nope.
The studio of our hearts, Amy. Did that get you? Did you go, oh, your face? You're like, oh. Man, I was really doing good there. Sounding smooth bringing this thing home, but it's okay. Anyways, everybody out there, have a great rest of your day. Haley, love you, and we'll be talking to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
You made it all the way to the end of today's episode, so you must have liked what you heard. If you did, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode, and perhaps leave us a good review. And if you know someone who wants to dig into all things human design with us, make sure you share the Human Design Hive podcast with them. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks for listening.